Today we are showing you how to change a leather band and shorten a silicone band on a Sinn 856. To remove the leather band, you can use a pocket knife or a band change tool. We'll show you both methods. Using the pocket knife, place the knife edge carefully between the lug and the band until you feel the spring bar. Push the spring bar down to release the pin, then gently remove it. Now we'll show you how to release the pin using a spring bar tool. In this case, we're using Sinn's pin tool. Not all watches have this system, but when they do, it's quite simple to operate and makes the band change quite quick. Simply fit the pin end of the tool into the hole on the outside of the lug and push to release the pin while gently pulling the band backwards as you do so to free the band from the case. Fitting and shortening a Sinn silicone band is quite an easy process, but there are a few things you need to take care of to make sure it goes well. Let's start by fitting the Sinn silicone band. Please note there are two different pieces of the band, one with the Sinn logo and one without. It's up to you which piece you fit onto which end of your watch. We tend to fit the section with the Sinn logo towards the inside or body side of the wrist. Start by gently guiding one side of the pin bar into place until it clicks into its hole. Then use the screwdriver side of your Sinn tool to depress the spring bar and feed it under the lug and into place until it too clicks into position. You can test it holds by gently tugging on the band. If the band falls out, simply repeat until you hear a click and the band holds. Repeat this for both sides of the band. Today we are showing you the band changes on a Sinn 856 which is tegumented. This is a special hardening process on the steel that makes it highly resistant to scratches. However, it's good practice to change your bands from the back side of the watch in case you slip and scratch the lugs. By inserting and removing pins from the underside, you're protecting your lugs. Now we can start the shortening process. The shortening process is easy, but you need to take your time and rather make several cuts to shorten to the right length than cut off too much in one go. The bars act as space holders and will help guide you. Using the Sinn tool, push the bar out to the length you need and replace the bar with a spring pin for guidance. When you make the cut, you can use scissors or a knife. Here we're using a knife. And be careful to leave enough band on the section that will stay on your watch, as this is needed for stability to hold the pin. If you cut too close to the spring pin, the silicone may rip and you'll lose length. The process to fit the buckle is similar to fitting the band because it uses spring pins too. We are fitting a long diver's clasp today. Just make note when fitting the clasp that you have the logo end facing 6 o'clock to ensure the buckle is the right way round. Fit one side of the spring pin in place, then use the screwdriver side of the tool to depress the spring pin and edge it into place until it clicks into position. When shortening the band, you will need to trim each side as evenly as possible so the watch and clasp sit evenly on your wrist. Remember to cut off bit by bit and check against your wrist as you go to save the heartache of cutting the band too short and having to buy a new one. The other band side also needs to be shortened. We find scissors work well and we'll show you how to do that next. Remember to place your spacing bars and spring pin in the position you need to give you stability and make the cut, leaving enough silicone on the band that you'll be wearing. Refit the clasp using the screwdriver side of the tool and moving around until the spring bars catch on both sides. The best method when shortening is to keep trying the watch on. Make sure the clasp sits nicely centered on your wrist and shortening as evenly as possible from each side as you go. As a general rule, if you end up with uneven band pieces to get to your wrist size, and if you wear your watch on your left hand, it's better to have the shorter band piece towards the inner side of the wrist. That's to say, the 6 o'clock side, and that will give you the most comfortable wear. So you see, a band change is simple if you have the right tools, if you work carefully, and you can also work from the back of the watch if you're not too confident to begin with. But always remember when shortening silicone bands to go in stages and keep trying on your wrist to make sure that you end up with the right fit.